My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, so it's time for the long promised apartment tour. I decided to finally just kind of like go through and film our apartment and show you how we've set up our small space because we're about to rearrange a lot of it. We are going to try to set it up so that Joe and I both have a desk in this space because we're both going to be working from here for a good while yet, we think. And I wanted to capture it the way that it is before we did that so that you can see how it has been. And I also wanted to capture it the way it has been so that you can like come with us as we transform it. I'm just trying to do everything I can to make some entertaining content from the confines of our house. So we're starting right here just because there's the mirror right here and I wanted to be able to talk to you face to face before we got started. But I think that for the actual tour, I'm going to start in the entryway. So this is the front door of our space. This is where you enter our apartment. And there's a bunch of stuff here that's not usually here. So that blue suitcase, that black suitcase, and that cart with stuff in it, those are all things that we brought over from our work studio, which is just a short walk away. We wheeled those things over here full of stuff that we're going to use to set up Joe's office. But usually this is a pretty clear space here in the entryway. We each have a hook right there. Joe keeps his jacket there and I keep my scarf and hat. And I'm going to come over here and sort of like show you what it would be like if you came in. So if you came to visit us and you entered through this door, this is the first thing you'd see. You'd see our hooks. You'd see this little sideboard that we have. And, you know, our keys and stuff rest on that landing station. This beautiful rug that I got from a website called eCarpet Gallery. I had an incredible rug shopping experience with them. I will definitely remember to link them down below. I'm not going to be able to link everything that's in our house, but I'll try to remember to link certain choice items. And I'll link eCarpet Gallery. I got this runner from them, and I also got the rug that's in my office space from them. So this black box and this white box, you'll see, and then there are some black and white boxes on that shelving unit too. That's something that we decided to do when we moved into this space because there just aren't very many closets. And we wanted to find a way to store our unsightly things, in some cases, out of the way, but sort of like also out in the open air that would be not too ostentatious, not too busy for the eye, and inexpensive. And these boxes are from IKEA and they're really, really inexpensive. So that was a great option. And you'll see them kind of scattered throughout our home. So on this side of the hallway, we have a gallery wall. I'm going to do a separate art tour, I think, like a full video that's just a tour of every single piece of art in our home, kind of focusing on each piece one at a time and explaining it. That'll be another video, I think, that I film while we are sheltering in place. But there's a bunch of good art here. And then here's where we keep all of our shoes. So some of them are on that little shoe rack, and then the rest of them are in that basket. It's not completely full of shoes. I think there are some gym bags that we're not using, like compressed underneath the shoes. So it's not like we have that many shoes. It's kind of just like a layer of shoes on the top. And this bench also usually doesn't have stuff on it, but we're keeping Sadie's carrier, her little like astronaut cat backpack carrier. We're keeping it handy. We had it out just because we've been taking her back and forth to work a little bit. And then that bag right there, that white paper bag, is a bag of clothes that I've decluttered and that I was looking to donate, and I just didn't manage to get that donation completed before we started sheltering in place. So I'm not sure how long it'll be there. We might take it downstairs and just like put it in the car during this time. So after you enter the apartment and walk down this little hallway, you turn this corner and that's just basically the rest of the apartment. Like it's only one room. But before we go in there, I'll show you the bathroom quickly. It's right here on the left as soon as you come in. And there's not much to see except for me again. I think the best thing in our bathroom is probably the squatty potty. That's actually another thing that I'll link. I value my squatty potty enough to link it below this video. And then the other thing that I really like about our bathroom is that we have an indulgent number of towels for a household of two. these are all of our towels. We just washed them, so they're all clean except for the one that I just used, which is hanging there. And it's not like we only use a towel one time. You know, we'll try to use each towel a couple of times, but I like having so many because it means that there's always a clean one no matter what. And we wash them about once a week. Same with washcloths. We have like so many washcloths. And these I usually do use. I'll use one in the morning to dry my face off, and then I'll usually hang it right here on this hook. And then I'll maybe use it like 1 or 2 more times before putting it in the towel laundry, which is down here. That way I always know that I'm using either a very clean or a pretty clean towel to dry my face off. So we've got kind of a his and hers situation here. That's my stuff on the left and Joe's stuff on the right. There's our shower. We just have the one shower rack where we keep all of our in-shower stuff. But that's pretty much it for the bathroom. Oh, actually, those bins up there are kind of note. That was another solution that we came up with to the fact that there isn't a closet in the bathroom. So we put this shelving in. We had brought it from our former apartment before we moved here. And we got those bins to store the things that don't fit underneath the bathroom cabinet. So under the bathroom cabinet are, you know, cleaning supplies and toilet paper and stuff. And then up there in those 2 bins, we have all of our medicines and just, you know, other random things that we needed storage for in the bathroom. So here's where we started. You can see that little entryway to the right here, the mirror that I was filming in when we started filming. And then there's another bookcase there on the left. This cabinet here, as we go in, we are really, really lucky to have a washer dryer in our apartment. Very, very rare in Los Angeles. When we were looking for a space, this was the only apartment that had a washer dryer in it inside of the unit. So you can see the whole apartment from here. It's kind of long and skinny, but it's separated into 3 distinct spaces. So we've got the bedroom space here, my office space there, and then the last one is the living room space down there. So we'll go space by space. Here's our bed. It's not ever really completely made. It's usually in some state of being half made, which is the state that it's in now. I really like these dark charcoal linens. It's actual linen. We decided to go with linen bedding, and we've been collecting linen bedding in various shades of like deep gray and charcoal brown. And I really like it. We only have 1 sheet set and then we just wash it. We don't like switch it out for another one. When we wash the sheets, we wash them at the beginning of the day and dry them, and then we put them back on the bed by the end of the day. So we've kind of become bedding minimalists, and I'm a fan of that. We have this little gallery art display up over the bed. That's really fun, and I'll go into more detail about all of those pieces when I do our art tour. And then across from the bed this is a part of our apartment that a lot of you have seen already. It's where my clothes are stored. It's my open concept closet. So we have this wire shelving and we kind of share it. I use this shelf right here for my sweaters mostly, and Joe uses the shelf above it. And then the shelf below it is my laundry. And this, by the way, is the box that clothes come in if you rent from Newly. That red thing right there, it's like a soft box-shaped container that gets shipped through the mail. And I've been keeping the clothes that I rented either in there or folded here right next to my laundry basket, just so that they don't get too intermingled with my other clothes. Once again, this has been featured in a lot of videos, but I feel like it's of note that here on the end I have some laundry hanging that I just washed. And I find that especially in a small space, we do have a laundry rack, like a drying rack that you can take out of the little closet where the washer dryer are and set up and, you know, hang up a bunch of clothes to dry. And we do that once in a while, but I find that if I've washed clothes in there, only like 3 or 4 things that need drying, it can be useful to hang them up just on hangers and hang them here. And that way the drying rack isn't out taking up a bunch of space. And I also find that certain items of clothing actually hold their shape more and end up behaving better if they are dried on hangers. It gives them like more of a chance to let their wrinkles relax out of them. So that's some of my clothes right there. And then all of the rest of my clothes are in this abhorrent wire set of drawers from IKEA. And this is also where I keep my perfumes, my newly decluttered perfume collection. So that is kind of like 1/3 of our apartment. It's basically the bedroom, even though it's open to all the rest of the apartment. It's the bedroom where we also store our clothes. So mine are there, and then Joe's are in that closed closet right there. Moving on to the middle third of the apartment. So you can see this is my bedside table right here, and right next to it, it transitions kind of into my office. So I have a little rug on my side, and Joe actually has a little rug on his side that's also kind of pretty. Those are just vintage rugs that I got at a thrift shop in Ann Arbor. A lot of our furniture is from secondhand furniture shops, consignment shops, and thrift shops. That's another reason why it will be hard to link things. But this rug is the other one that I got from eCarpet Gallery. It's really thick and plush, which was exactly what I wanted. And it has little naked people on it, which I didn't know that I wanted. But then when I found out it was an option, it absolutely was what I wanted. So this is a space with which you are relatively familiar, at least you're familiar with a little corner of it. There is my vanity right there. There is the wallpaper in all of its glory. It goes all the way up, but because of the weird shape of our ceiling there, where that round column squashes into the ceiling, I had to actually cut the wallpaper so that it would fit in. And I do like the effect. I feel like it sort of looks organic. It looks a little bit like it's growing out of that part of the wall. And then the rest of the wall down to the windows is just concrete. Here's what my desk looks like to me. I have a filing cabinet there. I have this end table, which isn't really my proudest home decor moment. We usually use this end table in our living room setup, but we recently moved around some furniture in the living room and it kind of got kicked out. It's pretty big and there isn't really room for it. So I'm using it as a piece of my office furniture right now. Underneath there is where I'm keeping my giveaway stuff. One box has things I'm going to send to my cousin. One box has things that I'm going to donate. And then there's a box of things I haven't really decided about. And then this clear tray, I just put this here. It just got freed up from another place in the house. The idea was sort of that if things came in PR, I could like put them in that tray kind of as like a holding space, and they could live there until I decided I wanted to like open them and try them. But we are going to rearrange probably this whole area. And also PR gets sent to my workplace and I don't have access to my workplace right now. So I don't know if I'll really be getting any PR in the coming months. I have a little printer that sits up on top of here. And let me just show you guys what it looks like from my position when I'm filming, in case you want to know. So here's where I sit when I'm filming. Oh, Joe, you're in frame if you want to hide your face. Joe doesn't want to be in it. So here's where I sit when I'm filming. And the camera, which I'm holding right now, I'm actually holding it by its, it has like this clamp attached to it. And I use the clamp to clamp it to that bar right there. So usually I'm looking through the ring light and I'm looking at the camera, which is clamped to that bar. And I'm sitting here talking, so you can see how like this, you can see reflected in that little mirror, the background that you usually see. And I have that little mirror there so that I can see myself at a little bit of a distance if I'm like doing makeup, and I usually just look into it to check and make sure that like my hair is not out to here, even though my hair often is out to there. I at least can like find out that my hair is out to there. So this is like what I see when you guys are seeing me. I'm seeing this. I have these two big soft boxes and the one ring light, which is on a little tripod that sits on the desk. So that is my current office space. And then right across from my office, we have these built-in shelves. So this is just like part of the infrastructure of the apartment. And you guys have seen this before too when I did my handbag declutter. We have a record player on here. I've been keeping those preserved roses sitting on top of it, maybe because it's round and they're round and I just feel like it works. And this is where I keep my bags. And then under there we have some more of those inoffensive looking boxes. I think one has Christmas lights in it and one has like heavy sweaters that are in deep storage. Those kinds of things are in those boxes. And then the rest of this wall is taken up by our little kitchen. This kitchen, in addition to the washer dryer, is probably one of the things that stimulated us to decide to rent this apartment. It is by far, by leaps and bounds, the nicest kitchen that I've ever had in any apartment that we've lived in, and probably nicer than any kitchen that I ever thought that I would be able to have. I really, really love this beefy gas stove. I love cooking on that thing. This butcher block is actually a piece of IKEA furniture that we purchased for our most recent apartment before this one, and we brought it with us. So we do use it as a place to sit and eat sometimes, especially if it's just one of us. And then I use it a lot for cooking. It's like a surface that gets a ton of use for us. We don't actually have a bona fide table, like a dining room table. There just wasn't room for something like that in this apartment. So this does serve as like a semi-gathering space with like sitting and eating and cooking. But when we have a meal, we often sit on the couches in the living room. And when we have friends over, even if we're eating dinner, we often just like end up strewing ourselves around the living room because we don't have a place where everyone can sit. It's just a small apartment. It's a studio apartment. So we chose this counter height kind of like cooking table instead of a dining room table, mostly because we already had it. This is a little corner of the apartment that I really, really like. We've got a wine rack up there, not much wine going on right now, my cookbooks, my spices, and some cookware, which is really pretty. I really love that cookware. I don't know why Joe's fly swatter is like encroaching on my crock pot. It's supposed to be hanging. There's a little nail over there. That's better. This plant is very unhappy. I think it's getting too much sun in this spot and probably not enough water. So I have it in the back of my mind to find a new spot for that plant when we rearrange things. That's Sadie's food. She has her own little art. She has a little persimmon. I'll talk about that more when I do the art tour. And then a lot of our plants obviously are grouped closer to the windows in the apartment. So along the tops of the kitchen cabinets, there's some plants. And then there are some plants in the windows. Basically, they're like all lined up in a little row here. Plants, 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 plants. The living room used to be in the background of my videos, and if you were watching me then, you will probably have noticed that it's been rearranged since then. We used to have the couch along that wall, and the big plant used to be there where that lamp is, and this blue chair used to be kind of out here where the couch is. So this is different. It's much more open and kind of like airier than it was before. In case you're having trouble visualizing it, here's the transition from my office to the living room. And this little walkway behind the couch usually doesn't have that box in it. That's one of the monitors that Joe uses for work, and it's one of the things that we brought over from the studio before it closed. And I actually really like being able to like walk back here and fiddle with my camera from the back, because I'm often having to like change the battery and put in a new SD card and stuff like that. So having that little space is really useful for me. But I think now that we are thinking about trying to like make more workspace, it might work. This is just me sort of thinking out loud. It might work to move the couch forward and move the TV cabinet over. I feel like everything could kind of move forward a couple of feet and we could have a slightly more condensed living room, and that might free up some workspace back here to like add Joe's office into my office. We'll see what we end up doing, but that's a possibility about which I have been thinking. This is our mortally wounded coffee table. We found it in a secondhand furniture shop in Ann Arbor for a really like $15 or something. Joe found it, actually. I shouldn't say we, because he found it and got it, and we have loved it, but the leg got broken when we moved from Michigan to LA. And so we bandaged it up, and it's just been like that ever since, which is like for 3 years. It's been like that for 3 years. And we're just living our best with it. It's fine. We're fine. Everyone's fine. And our TV is in here. We got this cabinet off of Craigslist when we lived in Ann Arbor, and we got a little monitor that fits exactly in there. I really like not having the TV exposed to the room when it's off. I really, really like being able to close that cabinet and not feel like the blank screen of the television is like looking at us while we're living our lives. I like just opening that only when we're going to watch television, or I guess play video games these days. This, if you can't tell, is basically my little corner. I sit in this chair a lot of times when I'm writing, when I'm editing, when I'm meditating. These days, that's where I'm sitting. I'm particularly fond of this situation with the jade plant and this beautiful painted stool. It's like one of my favorite moments in the house right now. And I have this lap desk that I use when I'm sitting here. I feel like it really helps with my alignment, like my posture, when I'm working from this chair. I don't just have the laptop awkwardly perched and I'm not slouching over it. I'm able to really feel like I'm sitting at a desk. These two living room lamps are also some of my favorite things in the house. I love this mercury glass lamp. I got that lampshade forever ago from Anthropology, and it was only recently paired with this mercury glass lamp, which was a gift from Joe's uncle, who was a lamp maker before he retired. He also gave us this lamp, which is one of my other favorite things that we own. It's covered in little porcelain babies, and it's super weird and super amazing. Back there too is Sadie's scratching post. That's another thing that I can try to remember to link that has been wonderful for us. She absolutely loves it. And then the other thing that I'll try to remember to link that Sadie has absolutely loved is this little perch. I wish she was here right now. She spends a lot of time on this little perch. But as you can see, it suctions underneath of itself instead of having like ties that tie up to the window like that. It's really, really awesome. There's a good shot of the perch from the side with Sadie on it, so you can kind of see how the supports work, those little plastic poles. Sadie, how would you rate your perch on a scale of 1 to 10? So I feel like that is pretty much it. I feel like this has kind of been a short video, but it's also a pretty small apartment. I'm actually going to stand right now on this chair because I'll be right in the corner, and then I'll just show you everything from this vantage point. So I'm pressed against the windows pretty much. And here we have the kitchen, the little living room, the office. That hanging plant, the one that's hanging from those pipes on the ceiling, that's one of the ones that I rescued from the office. So we just hung it up there a couple of days ago. It hasn't been there previously, and I actually really like it. That's something that it's hard to capture on video, but it gives kind of a cozy atmosphere when you walk into that part of the house. I think that's everything. I'm gonna come over here to the mirror to say bye to you guys. That was it. That's it. That's our little house. That's how it's laid out. That's where everything is. And I feel like maybe I wasn't too pressed about being like super thorough and explaining everything, partly because I know that I'm going to film a video kind of like this in a day or two where I'm just like showing you what it looks like after we rearrange it. And then if there's anything that I feel like I omitted from this little tour, I can remember to include it then. If there's something that you're wondering about, if you see something and you're like, oh my gosh, what is that? Where did you get that? Let me know in the comments. I'll try to remember to link the couple of things that I felt like were of note when I was going through. And again, a lot of the stuff that we have is just stuff we've collected randomly along the way. A lot of it was purchased secondhand, and so it might be a little bit harder to link, but I will do my best. Thank you so much for watching this little house tour. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world. What are you looking at, Sadie? You want to eat them? You can.
No, Sadie, don't do it. Sadie, don't do it.
Sadie, don't do it. No, don't. Come on.
No, you guppies.
Oh, this is a feature of our home I didn't show before. We have installed this little basket on the back side of the butcher block so that Joe can store his laptop here and headphones. This is another thing I really love, the bowl with feet. It's one of my favorite things that we own.
It originally was a tureen, correct?
I don't think so.
I thought it was always called a tureen.
I
Isn't
guess
it supposed to be a soup tureen?
I guess it is a tureen. Yeah, pretty into that. I guess the tour could go on.